Let's move on to Lions, Eagles. This is a market move I did beat, but I could have beaten it worse. It did open up the total at Pinnacle at 48.5. I mean, I got in at 47 on the under. It's now down to 45 or 45.5 at some books. The Lions also opened up +8, and that should have been taken advantage of. I did not take advantage of that. It's now 6 or 5.5 because this is a banged up Phillies team. And when I simply put it to Donnie on Tuesday, it was Detroit's offense is bad. Philly's offense is banged up. Let's just take the under. So the Eagles we'll know from Donnie, will likely be without Jeffrey with the calf strain, Alshon Jeffrey with the calf strain, and Jackson with the abdominal injury. So we're going to see Arcega Whiteside and Matt Collins. And then Nelson Aguilar in the slot. Eagles have only 2 sacks in the 2 games. They've already lost 2 defensive tackles to injury, Malik Jackson, and then Fletcher Cox sustained season injury. So, this is a spot where the under was screaming at me. I jumped on it. I still really like it. I don't know if I would take it at 45, but I guess I may, but I got it at 47, -116. And I think maybe the Lions still have value at 6. Donnie, right side, Lions, Eagles.
Yeah, no, just it's simple in this football game. When you watch the game on Sunday night when the Eagles lost to everybody, if you know sports, if you know the way the body reacts when they're talking about, after the game, Doug Peterson in complete lie mode, if it was a real game we needed, they would have gutted it. No, they weren't going to gut it out. You don't, as a skill position player, you don't gut out groin injuries. You don't gut out calf injuries. And people say, I want to wait to see the practice report. I jumped on that game immediately as soon as that game was available on Monday morning and we were able to hammer it once you saw eventually it was going to. I didn't need to see any practice reports, and that Doug Peterson's still saying today, boy, Alshon Jeffrey, not going to rule him out yet. He hasn't even taken the practice field yet this week. You have a whole season to worry about. And also, yes, the Green Bay Packers next week on Thursday Night Football. So looking at injuries and the way they work, I think all 3, Deshaun Jackson will be out for this football game. Deshaun Jackson will be out for the Packers. Dallas Goedert's probably not going to take the field this week. Alshon Jeffrey will be out this weekend and next Thursday as well in Green Bay. That's just the way the body heals on explosive athletes when you're dealing with calves or groins. These Eagles are going to be, we'll get to that Thursday game next week, which I'm already chomping at the bit for. But just looking at this one as a whole, you saw what you got versus an Atlanta defense last week. You figure coming into the football season, right? These guys don't get a lot of playing time. The Eagles were one of the top 5 offensive lines in football. They were horrific versus Atlanta. Why? Because you're not used to playing full games and you can't keep up to the speed. You're a team built for grass. You go down on the dome. They were embarrassed on the offensive line. So what's going to change this week, Jimmy, on offense when we take a look at the Philadelphia Eagles? Nothing. You're not going to have the 2 best weapons on the outside. Carson Wentz is going to have to grind this football game out. If they were smart, they'd go to a 3-back rotation this weekend, really rely on the offensive line to reload at home on grass and try to slug their way to a victory over the Detroit Lions. When there's no firepower on the outside, it doesn't matter what quarterback, where you are. If you take your 2 best weapons away from you, you're going to struggle. And I still digress, Jimmy, back to opening day when they played the Washington Redskins. If Deshaun Jackson was still a Tampa Bay Buccaneer, the Eagles are 0-2 heading into this football game. That's how much he means to that offense. This game's going to be close. Do I think the Eagles will win this football game? Yes. But would I be shocked if the Eagles were up 2 touchdowns or 3 touchdowns at any point in this game? Absolutely. This is going to be a close, low-scoring football game. Detroit gets the cover here.
I like it. Are you going? And so we'll talk about Donnie's official plays. He's had a ton locked in last week, but I know why he's hesitant here. There's tons of injuries, tons of moving parts, so he hasn't locked in a lot of plays. Is this something you think you're going to have locked in?
It's hard because I wasn't able to get the Detroit line. I still like the Detroit Lions. I think they keep it close. I do think the Eagles win, but I was able to, myself, obviously, being able to get something around the 7.5 range, excuse me, which I do have. But I'm waiting. Maybe a 6.5 pops up, something like that. It's probably going to be official play for me because I still like Detroit. Detroit has an excellent shot at winning this football game outright to me.
Wow, that's wild stuff. Whale Capper, Lions, Eagles.
Yeah, I can't refute any of Donnie's points. We're in lockstep on this one. I backed the Lions on Monday, I believe, at +7 -110. I wouldn't be too shy about getting involved, selling down, get a little aggressive. This is a game where I think Philadelphia only wins if they come out at this with a very conservative approach. They cannot afford to kind of, try to put pressure on the Lions here and make this a shootout because Matt Stafford has he can chuck. He's not winning. He's 1-0-1 so far this season, and was effective. When he needed to be in that Chargers game, but he's not lighting the world on fire in the stat sheet. That said, this Unity's going up against has some weaknesses. They have some soft spots. The fact that your defensive tackles are so limited for the Eagles plays a little bit into what their offensive approach likes to do in terms of trying to establish the run and then use play action to take deep shots. Like that's a recipe that should work against this Eagles squad. So I'm looking for a pretty competitive effort here out of the Lions, and I wouldn't be shocked by an upset either. And I think under was a great play. That was really a very, very solid play.
That sounds good. I guess maybe going against our very own Jay Peach in the chat, who says never lean Lions, but maybe this is a spot to back them here. Love my spot on under 47 at -116.